Good morning. Good morning. Yes, he's here. He's here on the phone there. On the phone there. So pretty much got kind of caught with my pants down. Hey, everybody. Very good morning to you. Start of a brand new week here on the Spice Hall. I'm George Grant, and welcome to the Monday edition of Gudday Grenada. Thanks a lot for joining us. I certainly hope you folks had a great weekend and, as always, ready to take on the world. Brand new week. We got lots going on, lots to be done as we continue rebuilding this beautiful little nation of ours. And I'm so glad to say we, because you are a part of it. This morning, I got a lot of stuff for you. I think we're going to run the full hour this morning. We've got the President's Report from the Willie Redhead Foundation. Yes, sir, for 2018. And somebody has come out really strong in support and solidarity with the Grenada Bar Association. She goes under the name We the People, Sandra Ferguson. She sent out a letter this past week to the Bar Association, and we published that on the GrenadaBroadcast.com website, so you can go check it out. And in addition to that, we do have the national report for you, as always, well, most of the time anyway. And then we're going to wrap it up this morning with something that's going to be of interest to those of you who are keeping an eye on agriculture in this place. A heart-to-heart with a new farmers representative in the Senate. Yeah. Gentleman by the name of Dr. Dunstan Campbell paid us a visit here yesterday. And we had a very interesting conversation. And some things were said which I think you really ought to hear. So stick around. That's coming your way towards the end of the program. However, right now at 4 minutes after the hour, let's begin with the Willie Redhead Foundation. The President's Report. You know, the Willie Redhead Foundation is very active, trying to preserve Grenada's heritage. And they published a report last week, the end of last week, which I'd like to share with you. So you'll find out what these folks have been doing. They're not just a name that you're hearing, but they're actually involved in doing things. Let me quote. Coming off the flurry of activities in 2017, especially with our stance on the Camahan Park issue, the Willie Redhead Foundation entered 2018 with a lot more recognition and respect from the general public, media, and other interest groups. TWRF, as they're known for short, remains active by participating in regular weekly meetings with the Save the Camahan Park Committee. The foundation was also cited as a suitable contributor in an article appearing in the Grenadian Voice newspaper back on July 13th of last year, captioned, "How can we develop our capital city?" A slight increase in membership was experienced by the foundation with the addition of 3 new members to the regular attendees of 22 and 4 overseas members, as continued efforts are being made to build and strengthen the foundation's youth arm. The major projects undertaken by in the previous year continued in earnest, spilling over into 2018. For example, the production of the Water Wheel documentary and the Heritage Coffee Table magazine. The magazine is to include briefs on the Kalinago village, at the poultry and the production of Eastern Caribbean rum, a new locally produced product. The foundation feels that the Walking Tour Guide project, in conjunction with the Grenada Tourism Authority, still needs some attention, since it believes that the guides should have some more training and monitoring. The foundation believes that training should be ongoing, and the visitors should be able to easily identify qualified persons by name tags, caps, and or vests. The historic cast iron balcony that had been mysteriously removed and dumped from the building occupied by Huggins, the farm and garden, at the corner of Halifax and Granby Streets, still remains an issue. The foundation had undertaken to prepare drawings for a replica balcony and invited bidders for replacement. To date, there has been no response from the invited bidders. This hopefully would be revisited later on this year. The Willie Redhead Foundation, in pursuit of rescuing and rehabilitating historic derelict buildings in the Tri-Island State, especially in St. George, issued a letter to Prime Minister Mitchell and his reappointed electorate, expressing concerns about the apparent continued deterioration of these buildings and the safety and health hazards which they now present. The foundation offered suggestions for the redevelopment of these abandoned structures, with certain guidelines to be considered in maintaining the Georgian architecture, as well as creating local entrepreneurial incentives. The main thrusts are to be the public library, York House, and the old Governor General's residence. The hot issue regarding a second referendum on Grenada joining the Caribbean Court of Justice appellate jurisdiction was taken on by the Willie Redhead Foundation under the guidance of past President Norris Mitchell by inviting fourth and fifth formers of secondary schools and students of TAMCC to participate in an essay competition. The winner of the competition was Karina Blash, who was presented with her honor scroll at the November fellowship meeting. An impressive article published in the New Today, written by 11-year-old Amira Ogilvy on, quote, "What does education mean to me?" attracted the attention of past President Norris Mitchell, who proposed to the foundation that some monetary assistance be given to her mother, a single parent, to enable her to cope with the cost associated with Amira commencing secondary education at St. Joseph's Convent of September 2018. This gesture was greatly appreciated by both mother and child, who promised to attend our meetings at least once per term. Efforts will continue in 2019 with the acquisition of the building on Market Hill, Lily of the Valley, you know that building, by the Willie Redhead Foundation for its headquarters. It is felt that this would perhaps be made easier since the government is showing promise for the legislature of and development of derelict buildings. Finally, I must express my gratitude to you, the foundation members, for your continued support. It appears to be that this year, 2019, promises to be a year that the Foundation will be more active in agitating, participating, challenging, and engaging. I believe that together, with your support, we will overcome. That, Pilgrims, is the annual report from the Willie Redhead Foundation. And again, that was published on the GrenadaBroadcast.com website. Check it out. It ends by saying, Happy 2019 to you all. Now, it's, let's see here, 12, coming up on 13 minutes after 9 o'clock. Let's turn to that solidarity letter to the Grenada Bar Association from We the People. Dear Miss Taylor, Re-Solidarity, Grenada Bar Association. Quote, First they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out, because I was not a Jew. Then they came for the communists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a communist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. That's a quote from Martin Niemöller, 1892 to 1984. Now the text of that letter. Greetings to you, Madam President, Executive, and members of the Grenada Bar Association. I write in my personal, individual capacity to offer my solidarity to the Grenada Bar Association for the action taken in demonstrating that it has come to the end of the rope, re the appalling situation of the High Court's inability to sit. I salute, Madam President, the leadership shown by yourself on this matter, the deliberative manner in which the executive has approached the situation, and the lengths to which the Grenada Bar Association has gone in demonstrating patience and proposing solutions to the executive. Thank you also for bringing attention to the state of York House, the former seat of Parliament and the High Court, that has been deliberately allowed to deteriorate since the passage of Hurricane Ivan on September 7, 2004, while we all foolishly awaited the promise of the halls of justice. Given that the judiciary is the third arm of our governance, it is unthinkable that this situation should exist. However, it does. And it is ironic that the powers that be are profiling Grenada's commitment to good governance with the capacity building for parliamentarians that is being facilitated by the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association of Grenada, or in Grenada, this week. Madam President, Executive, and members of the GBA, we, as a people, must all ask ourselves, how is it that the judiciary has been reduced to being treated with this level of indifference and disrespect as exhibited by the executive? Have we, collectively, as citizens, contributed to this situation? I submit, Madam President, that we all must bear some responsibility. As citizens, we have not been minding our business. It is our failure to set standards for those who govern, our willingness to bend over backwards, compromise, and accept the intolerable. And now the High Court has been reduced to this normal. It is unable to sit because it does not have a home. Meanwhile, York House, the former seat of Parliament, and the High Court have been deliberately allowed to deteriorate when all it needed was to be re-roofed and repaired. Whatever happened to our common sense and those pearls of wisdom of our elders? A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Use what you already have until you can get what you want. York House is, or was, also one of our valued national heritage assets. So there could be no loss in investing in the repair of York House until the halls of justice could be realized. A review of the budget estimates over the years would inform that a home for the Supreme Court is not a priority. The executive has spent $23 million over the last 2 years, 2017 and 2018, for the Parliament building, a single-use structure of which $4.5 million have been funded by taxpayers. Another $6 million have been budgeted for in the 2019 estimates, but not a dime has been allocated for the Supreme Court. Where is the value for money in that building compared to York House? I humbly submit, Madam President, that these are debates in which the members of the Grenada Bar Association, as citizens of this country, have to begin to engage. And I note that York House is to be a knowledge center and museum, and the legal center for the judiciary is to be restored or constructed by a build, own, lease, and transfer arrangement, better known as BOAT, which means that some private entity is going to build and own it under a boat. Which therefore means that we can kiss goodbye to the ownership of those buildings. Let us not forget that it was the National Stadium and the ministerial complex boat arrangements that began Grenada's slide into the debt morass in which we are all struggling. Perhaps a deal will be arranged. What will be the exchange? In exchange for the ownership of these buildings, the boat developers will assume ownership and control over certain other natural or national assets. Within the Grenada Bar Association is a concentration of the creme de la creme of our Grenadian intelligentsia. If the independence of the judiciary is going to be respected and protected, the Grenada Bar Association has an important role to play. I want to encourage, Madam President, broader civic engagement by the bar and its members. I encourage the bar collectively and its individual members to lend their voices collectively and individually to informed debate and understanding of many issues well within its purview. Like, for example, the many bills that are passed in Parliament with little or no debate, but which have far-reaching consequences for the lives of our people. For example, the amendment to the Banking Act that was recently passed, or the proposal to replace the Privy Council with a Caribbean Court of Justice, which the Grenada Bar Association just let slide by. The current situation in the country is not just a situation for the Grenada Bar Association. It is one that affects the citizens of this country. The members of the Bar Association are interlocutors on behalf of the citizens they represent. I therefore, once again, reiterate my solidarity and support for the efforts of the association to ensuring in the soonest possible time an adequate solution, sustainable over the medium and long term, to restoring the sitting of the High Court and to ensuring the proper functioning, protection, and independence of the judiciary and judicial system. Kind regards, Sandra C. A. Ferguson. Okay? Let me take a look here and say good morning to the Facebook cast. T.F. Richards says it's cold in Brooklyn this morning. Sharon Roberts is saying good morning to you guys. She's in Florida. Fitzroy says he's watching from a cold Brooklyn, 23 degrees Celsius. 23 degrees Celsius? No, I think you mean 23 degrees Fahrenheit. Hey, 23 degrees Celsius, man. You guys basking in sunshine. No. I think you meant 23 degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit. TF also says, George, I have said it before and will continue to say that the Parliament building was one of the biggest open waste of taxpayers' money. Millions of dollars for a building used 3 times a year maximum. How did the fiscal space allow that? So says TF. TF, I think they use it a little bit more than 3 times. I mean, there's sittings of the House of Representatives and there's sittings of the Senate. But I understand the point that you're trying to make. Ashton Fletcher says, good morning, George, and greetings from Louisville, Kentucky once again. Here's to wishing you a productive week as we continue to hold up our dear island in prayer. Boy, we need a lot of that, Ashton, a lot. Okie doke, folks. Let's move on. Wow. Oh, hold on. Margaret says, yeah, 23 degrees Fahrenheit. See, TF. No, it wasn't TF who said that. It was Fitzroy Adams who said that. Yes, it's 23 degrees Fahrenheit. Pilgrims, let's take a little break here and then we'll come on back with the National Report.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us
as we energize our Spice Island.
Renlec, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grandance and Lumber Department, Caranage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenient, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
Government declares deadlock in pension negotiations. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Friday, January 11th, 2019, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. Government has declared a deadlock in pension negotiations with public sector trade unions and staff associations. When talks continued on Friday, government's Pension Engagement Committee notified the unions and staff associations that an amicable solution appears unlikely given the great disparity between proposals by the two parties. Since the start of negotiations, government has improved its offer of advanced payment of pension, also known as gratuity, to 8%, with reduced pension over 8 years. But the unions and staff associations continue to demand a 25% gratuity, which government maintains is not affordable or sustainable. However, the continued insistence on 25% gratuity has left the government with no choice but to declare an impasse. And so in keeping with the procedures for the settlement of disputes, the matter will be referred to the Labour Commissioner for conciliation. If this fails, the matter will be referred to the Minister for Labour for mediation. After opting to defer all three substantive items on the agenda during the meeting on Friday, the unions and staff associations indicated that they will communicate their official position in writing to the government.
At the continuation of negotiation, the unions and staff association insisted on 25% gratuity for the members. The government side reiterated that 25% is unaffordable, unsustainable, and will breach the Fiscal Responsibility Act. The matter will therefore be sent to the Labour Commissioner for conciliation. If it is not settled at that time, it can be referred to the Minister of Labour for mediation. I wish to make it clear that the government is committed to pension restoration and reform that will benefit all state employees.
That's Chairman of Government's Pension Engagement Committee, the Honourable Oliver Joseph. The Grenada Development Bank, GDB, and the Ministry of Labour have created a financial package that will assist new recruits for Carnival Cruise Lines to complete preliminary requirements for employment on the cruise ship. These include medical, fitness training, and visa applications. Representatives from GDB met Friday with the first batch of recruits. More than 80 applicants have been accepted, with the first 40 due to commence work in mid-April. Labour Minister, the Honourable Peter David, encouraged the group to give priority to planning their future as they embark on a new chapter.
Plan your life, plan everything about your life. Say you want to go here and plan how you get there. I'm sure if you're in Grenville and you say you're going Granance, you're going to figure if you're going East Coast, West Coast, or going down over the hills. You're going to say, well, that way is shorter because less gas. So less gas, this way longer, but I had to meet a girlfriend on the way down. You're going to plan every step of the way. Similarly with your own life, plan every step of the way. And it may sound as if I'm just an old man just being miserable. But the truth is, if you plan, it is more likely you'll succeed than if you unplanned, because there'll be all kinds of ad hoc moves on the way forward. So I just want to say that. And in relation to the bank, and the reason I'm saying that is this, that If you decide to take a loan from the bank, you have a certain income, put aside your money to pay back the bank. I'll tell you why. You can come back to the bank for your house. You can come back to the bank for your car. You can come back to the bank for a bus. So you have to always look down the road.
GDB's Senior Project Officer, Mr. Alistair Bain, says the bank has been in contact with Trinity Recruitment Services, Inc. of Barbados. Representatives from the recruitment firm spent 3 days in Grenada in December, receiving applications and interviewing applicants for various vacant positions on board the Carnival cruise lines. Mr. Bain says the continuation of the loan program to cruise ship recruits depends on their consistency in payment.
Give you information regarding the loan process, what you would be required to present us with, so that we can do an assessment. Remember, we are not giving you a grant. As the minister said, we are giving you a loan. We expect that loan to be repaid, because if it is not repaid, the next batch of recruits may not be able to access funding. If we think that the program is not successful in terms of our funding for that particular sector, we would have to review it and probably withdraw it. You don't want that to happen.
And the bank's External Relations Officer, Ms. Carla Haywood, shared some information on the financial package.
We're looking at a figure of $6,000 maximum that y'all would look to use. So on a monthly basis, your payback should look at $520. The last set of loans that we did cruise ship wise, it came up to about $7,000, and that figure payback was $600 a month.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
It is here again, it is here again. The Made in Grenada Expo is here again. And I just hope the whole of Grenada ready, because I sung in a clarion call. The Made in Grenada Expo is here again. The Made in Grenada Expo is on February 7th, and the public is encouraged to come out and give full support and buy out all local products on show. Products manufactured right here in Grenada, 100% Grenadian, and it's happening right here at the National Stadium. Are taking in the Independence Parade and the Made in Grenada Expo one time. I am so excited. That's why I'm making a fireside. I bring my tent, my blanket and all kind of thing, and I'm camping right here until everything done on February 7th. The Made in Grenada Expo is here again.
Continuing the news, the Grenada Tourism Authority GTA says Grenada has exceeded its tourist arrival target in 2018, welcoming 528,077 visitors, just over the 500,000 mark set in 2017. The arrivals account for stayover, yachting and cruise ship visitors. A strong performance was recorded in stayover arrivals with an increase of 9.97%. The numbers moved from just over 146,000 to more than 160,000, with special mention given to what the GTA describes as a bumper Christmas season, which recorded 17% growth. The GTA's Chief Executive Officer, Ms. Patricia Ma, says they are encouraged by the numbers.
Canada recorded the highest growth. The Canadian market in 2018, yeah? Would you believe a 19.5% increase year on year for the destination? So Canada, look at Canada, guys. There's a lot of potential in the Canadian market, and it's fantastic. And then the USA followed suit and grew by 12.38%. year on year. So the USA market is also very strong for us. The Caribbean market also grew significantly, almost 7% year on year. And that's our friends from around the region visiting us in Grenada. So that's wonderful. We had some significant growth also, believe it or not, out of Latin America. And the rest of the world, other parts of the world, which is interesting, globally, we're making our mark because we grew by 18.27%. Yeah, so that for us is interesting statistic data. We're growing also not just in our key source markets, but globally.
Minister for Tourism and Civil Aviation, the Honourable Clarice Modeste Kerwin said, and I quote, achieving 500,000 arrivals has been a landmark goal for the destination of Grenada, Carriacou and Petite Martinique. It is a testament of the island's growing influence in the marketplace and industry growth, unquote. The GTA also launched what it called a destination shopping video during Thursday's press conference. Product Development Manager Mrs. Curl Hoshtialik says it is in response to surveys done in the past which showed that the level of satisfaction for shopping in Grenada was low.
It is our hope that this video, which we're going to debut today, would create an opportunity for potential increase in revenue for the industry, especially to those persons in the gift and merchandising subsector. The video creates awareness by highlighting the array of goods, products, and traditional craft that we have in the Tri-Island state of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. It showcases talented people and thriving businesses. A true Grenadian shopping experience is revealed by the variety of quality products made from bamboo, glass, straw, shells, chocolate, our famous spice necklace, and so much more.
The video will be available on the GTA's online platform, local television stations, and integrated in its overseas marketing efforts. Minister for Culture, Senator the Honourable Nolan Cox, says Grenada's 45th anniversary independence celebrations will highlight the country's traditional culture. During Thursday's media launch for the celebrations, Senator Cox said the plan is to highlight both the historical and rich cultural heritage of Grenada while marking another political milestone of the country as an independent nation.
From the ministry standpoint, one of the things that we're advocating something in terms of the operations of the committee in terms of focus, to focus more on traditional culture. And so that is an area that the committee has been mandated to focus on a lot in this year's celebration. So Mr. William didn't mention that, but I just say that, let me just let you know. So that is a new area of focus, more on the traditional culture.
The minister also spoke about the National Dress Initiative that will be launched as part of this year's celebrations. He says the process is being done jointly with the Cultural Foundation and will be implemented officially for the 2020 Independence celebrations.
So a number of initiatives have already been executed. The Cultural Foundation is the entity that is charged with the responsibility of executing that activity. So what is going to take place at this year's celebration is to actually launch. We're going to do it in form of a competition and allow for the public to send in designs based on the concept that was developed. So all the concepts have already been constructed. As Mr. Williams indicated, there is a special booklet that has been compiled by the Grenada Cultural Foundation, and that booklet will be handed out to prospective persons who are interested in participating in that activity. We were hoping to actually have the final way for this year's celebration. We are working hard towards that. As you know, I only came in April, and so there were a number of things that we had to get approved, even for budget and everything like that. So a number of things happened, but that in itself didn't lend us enough time to actually have the competition and have the final designs approved, which we are hoping to have this year, so that it would be displayed as part of the 45th celebration.
Among the many activities listed for the 2019 Independence celebrations are the Community Oil Dung Initiative and Beautification Competition. And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And Grenlec is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
Grenelec, energizing our Grenada.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Okie dokie, folks. It's now 18 minutes away from 10 o'clock. Oh, by the way, we've been joined by Meckerman Alexander Lincoln Roberts, who thinks we here in Grenada are beautiful people. Indeed we are, sir. Thank you for joining us. Now, following the March 13th general elections, a new farmers' representative was appointed to the Senate, Dr. Dunstan Campbell. He is now settled in and paid us a visit yesterday for a very frank and open discussion about the state of the agriculture industry in Grenada. What are the major challenges facing him? How difficult is it to find money for the sector? Are we doing enough to get youth into agriculture? Is he pleased with what he has adopted? Here's a small segment from that discussion.
Well, yes and no. Yes, in the sense that we still have motivated farmers who are willing to produce and, take on the task of the food security portfolio. No, in terms of the commitment of the leadership to take on some of the challenges. They talk very well, but you're not seeing the action backing up their statements. But yes, it is a yes and no situation.
They talk very much, but you're not seeing the actions to follow up. Where have I heard that before? Where have I heard that before?
I hope it's not from me.
no, not from you. So obviously you've got a challenge on your hands. Are you ready for it?
It is a challenge, and I am in touch with them. I decided that I would not act alone. I would actually form an alliance with the leadership, with the people in the Ministry of Agriculture, to understand what they're doing, and of course to give my input on the farmer side as far as we would like to see agriculture going. I mean, if you listen to the statements made by the leadership, again, you refer to them as the leadership, they are all right. But when you trace it on the ground, you see a different story,
Yeah.
And I guess during this program we'll talk about marketing and marketing board and other things like that.
Senator, we could talk about anything your little heart desires here this morning. I'm really, really game. And by the way, I just saw a note here on Facebook. This person, I don't know if you know somebody by the name of Anthony Wendell DeRiggs.
Yes, I know him very well.
You know the character?
Yes, I taught him in school at Shapers College.
That's what I'm learning here. It says, George, a special good morning to my favorite teacher, Dr. Dunstan Campbell. I still remember the gems that came from his mouth when he so eloquently lectured at SJCSS. He says, I feel blessed seeing him this Sunday morning. Looking forward to catching up with him very soon. Looking good. So yes, you got at least
yes.
one fan out there.
Yes.
I hope you realize that you got your hands full, because one of the challenges and one of the frustrating things about this country today has a lot of people up in arms is that a lot of people are making suggestions, but we're not seeing the follow-up.
Yes.
Because key people who are in positions to enable those suggestions and ideas to be implemented just aren't listening, Senator, just aren't listening. Tell me that you have a lot of metal and you're going to keep on plugging away regardless.
Well, no, I can't give up. I mean, I am now a farmer because that's what I do, for most of the time that I have besides being in these organizations. And then that's my whole profession. I mean, my education, my BSc, MSc, PhD were all associated with agriculture and rural development. So it is ingrained in me, and I come from, my mother was actually a worker on the Douglaston estate. So I have been, part of it right through my life, and no, I would not sit by and allow some of these issues to just roll by, and I know that I can provide an input. And this is what I'm doing. This is why I have actually taken up this post, or the senatorial post, because I feel that I can make a contribution. I have made a contribution. In fact, one of the things that really makes me feel good is that as I travel through the Caribbean, in every ministry today, right from Guyana to Jamaica, someone will come up and say, "Thank you, Dr. Campbell, because you have taught me, and I am using some of those things there." Right through. I mean, in agriculture and fisheries, right through. So that makes me feel good that I am making a contribution, and I would like to continue to do that.
Somebody else here, actually a couple of people here, again, impressed with this. Somebody named Kalyan Ragbasing says, "Hi Dunstan, told you can do it. Just be nationalistic, neutral, and professional. I know you cannot be bought."
Yeah, I would stick with my community. I would stick with the farmers and the professionals, right, who are in this field to make things good. Because agriculture is so important to us. I mean, sometimes people say, use loose statement like agriculture is the backbone of the economy. Then you say, okay, it is the backbone of the economy. What are you doing to strengthen it? And we're seeing that it's just the opposite. Because in Grenada, and I mentioned that in my budget presentation, and it's in the National Agricultural Plan, that agriculture is losing. The lands for agriculture is being alienated to other sectors at a rapid rate. Right. And if we continue to do that, and we are moving into sectors that are very fickle, they can perform today, but tomorrow, they're gone. And then we would be in a situation, floating, right? Because we need to feed ourselves. We need to earn foreign exchange. We need to build communities. All of these things are what agriculture can deliver. And I think we are forgetting this, especially the one on culture, to the Grenadian attitude, the Grenadian style, the Grenadian, even the way we speak, the way we communicate.
Dialect.
Yes. It's all part of that rural being, so that we need to preserve it. We need to.
Hazel Ferguson is agreeing with the Riggs here. She says, "I must agree with you. Mr. Campbell was one of my favorite teachers." Yeah.
It seems as if the whole St. John's Christian Secondary School old students or past students are listening to this program.
You heard him? He called all you old.
No, I can't say that to Hazel. I can't say that. Past student.
Denson, listen, I know you want to talk about marketing, and I have some questions along those lines as well. But first of all, I want you to get into what do you envision as the major challenges right now sitting in front of you?
The management of the sector. I think we have dropped the ball. We spent lots of money training people, professionals, to man the sector. But we did not put in place a succession plan. So what we are seeing today is that Grenada, which was up there doing well, or moving up the ladder, the people who have brought them there, right, are now leaving, and there are no one to take over. So to me, they would drop further down again and then have to rebuild. And this, to me, is a very serious crisis. And then also there is the lack of, I would call, fund or resources to support the sector, or institutions like the propagation unit, the soil testing laboratory, the tissue culture lab, which once did such a good job, and they're now off the scene. I don't see an agriculture being very performant without these institutions being very active and taking a lead role in the development of agriculture in Grenada. And to me, that's the worrying part. You know, for instance, we have lots of programs. If you were to look at the budget and some of the things that were mentioned in the budget, like the SIEP program, which offers around the $16 million over the next 6 years for agriculture and rural development. You have Agricom, $4 million for the next, I think, few years. I mean, the funding for the development of agriculture and rural development is there. It's a question I am worried about its utilization. So that the impact of that injection of capital, would it make a difference? And that's my sort of a concern.
Well, you know, you mentioned a little while ago the lack of funding, and something that quickly jumped to mind is it seems that we can always find funding for certain projects, but certain things that are very crucial. You're talking about agriculture here right now, but this past week, big issue. Why can't we find the funding for the fixing of the judiciary?
Well, that's another thing.
That's it. We ain't getting into that right now.
I'm not going to get
you
there.
understand where I'm coming from. It seems like, yes, I would admit, we're still a poor country, okay? Yeah. But we seem to be able to find resources for certain things which John Q. Public may not believe have priority.
Well, let me say that at this time, I think it is much easier to find funds for agriculture because of the climate change environment. So once you fix agriculture, fisheries, and the environment into that portfolio of climate change, it is easier than other sectors, I would say. So most of the projects that I've just mentioned are all based in the climate change agenda.
Okay.
You see, so it's easy to get funds, and there are lots of, well, I won't say lots, but there are funds out there that we can access for our development. I don't know if the judiciary system has that same facility, or if it's available out there with the same ease. So
yeah. I see here Tessa Barry says, George, hi to these two distinguished gentlemen. I thought there was only one distinguished gentleman, the one sitting over here. Tessa Barry is a young lady who's been studying agriculture. You know Tessa?
Yeah, I know Tessa.
Oh, yeah. Boy, she's really gung-ho. I bet she's going to make quite a contribution to agriculture here.
Well, yes, I know she presented her PhD, but she did not email me to tell me what happened. And I emailed her, and she did not respond. So, Tessa, please respond.
Get on the ball, Tessa. Get on the ball.
Yes, let me know what's happening. Okay. But yes, I'm glad that she is there. She has chosen agricultural extension as a profession, good choice, and I hope she can make that impact on her, in the region, and of course nationally also, because at that level, it is very difficult for one country to hold you down. So I would hope that she would provide some of services to Grenada, as she would, I'm sure, to the region and the world maybe.
I get the feeling that she's somebody who really wants to make a contribution to agriculture. She's always, every time you talk to her, it's agriculture, which I admire, I really respect. Let me ask you this now. Okay, she's a young lady. From your perspective, and having spent a few months now in the Senate, yes, I've heard your concerns already, but do you feel that we're doing enough to generate enough interest in the sector from the young people? You mentioned at the top of this conversation that, a lot of the people who were holding the fort, if you will, they're moving on. So we need a young cadre of replacements. Are we doing enough, Senator?
Well, George, I've been hearing this dialogue for some years now. It's a long time, but I'm not seeing the results. Really, I'm not seeing the results. when we look at the statistics of the people who are involved in agriculture, we still see a significant amount of persons who are above 50 years being providing the leadership on the farm, or the owners. There are reasons for this, right? Getting lands to begin with is a difficult thing, right? And most of the people who want to get into agriculture, the young persons, they come from situations where they cannot rely on their parents to come forth with money to buy lands or to lease lands or to buy the necessary equipment to get them started. And I don't know, of any program that seriously offers that sort of assistance. I was a little bit disappointed here in Grenada when we talked about the government estates that were going to be divested. I thought with all the discussion on the youth in agriculture, at least they would have had one or two of these estates devoted to youths, so that we can see and monitor their involvement in agriculture. But I didn't see that, and I hope I understand the diamond and another one that's going to be divested, and I really hope that the government would take on board the youth and make sure that so that there is a connection between what you say and what you do. There's a lot of talk about agriculture. It's like a political capital, right? Yeah. But I am not seeing the utilization of that capital enough, right? Enough. And there are reasons for that, and we have to change the game. We have to change the enabling environment so that younger persons can get into agriculture.
Heart to heart, right? That gentleman really impresses me. He's been with us a number of times before, and there's so much more that we really needed to talk about. I'm really looking forward to having him back here on several occasions in the not-too-distant future. Senator Dunstan Phillip, the Farmers and Fisheries Representative in the Senate. WW, Winifred Williams is saying, good morning to the people of Bolio from Silver Springs in Maryland. Bet it's cold up there too, eh? Folks, one final little break here and then we shall pull the plug. Alrighty, folks, time for me to go feed my face now. It's 1 minute after 10 o'clock, just gone a wee bit over time. Now, as always, I'm not sure who this is for today, what I'm about to read with you. Maybe you. Listen up. Jeremiah chapter 9, verses 4 to 6 says, "Beware of your friends. Do not trust anyone in your clan, for every one of them is a deceiver, and every friend a slanderer. Friend deceives friend, and no one speaks the truth. They have taught their tongues to lie. They weary themselves with sinning. You live in the midst of deception. In their deceit, they refuse to acknowledge me. So declares the Lord." Jeremiah chapter 9, 4 to 6. Okie dokie, pilgrims. On that note, Georgie Porgy is going to punch up his little iPad here, but not before he says thank you so much to those of you who joined us this morning. Facebook, and by the way, we're still working on simulcasting Facebook and YouTube, do both at the same time. But we're looking forward to seeing you back here again tomorrow morning, and hopefully Ray Rah is going to be joining us, I would imagine, electronically. George Grant sending God's blessings your way by His grace. See you tomorrow.